remember, in inboard engines, gas and diesel, you need to check all the time two important gauges: the oil pressure gauge and the temperature gauge. The pressure of those gauges is critical. The pressure of those gauges is critical, especially the oil pressure. If the oil pressure decrease below the limit, normally the limit is around 30 psi, 25 psi. If the oil pressure goes down below that pressure recommended by the manufacturer, the engine stops suddenly for safety. What is the element that cut the current and stop the engine is the oil pressure switch. And we are going to talk later in this video about the oil pressure switch, the oil pressure sensors, where are located those switch and sensors, and how is the connection of the oil pressure switch, the oil pressure sensor in the harness. But now I want to share with you the different videos that I prepare to use in order to explain the process step by step. Okay, the first step is the removal of the oil pan. And this is the oil pump. We are going to remove the oil pump carefully, and immediately you remove the oil pan. Be careful with the gasket. This is very, very important. You have access to the oil pump. That's the oil pump. And this is the strainer or filter, and this is the oil pump. This strainer, this is an important element, because what happens if this strainer is clogged? The circulation of the oil is not enough, and you have a lack of lubrication, and you have millions of problems internally on the engine. How the strainer, how that filter, that strainer can be clogged? If I replace the oil according with the manufacturer recommendations, and suddenly that strainer is clogged, there are different possibilities. One possibility is that the oil used on that engine is not the recommended oil for that engine. In this moment I am going to explain both scenarios: the gasoline engine, the oil pump for gasoline, and the oil pump for diesel. It's the same function, the same operation. Okay, in this particular case, in this particular example, the oil pump engage the shaft of the driver gear have a slot, and the slot enter in the spring on the shaft of the distributor for gasoline engines. You see, in like the picture, like the video, those elements engage one into the other one, and when the distributor is spinning, the oil pump is running and suction oil. And how the distributor is spinning? The distributor is spinning because if you check here, we have a gear, and that gear engage with the gear of the camshaft. The gear of the camshaft. Yes, if you see, okay, those gears engage one with the other one. When the camshaft is move the distributor, and the distributor send the spark. In gasoline engine, in this particular example, we are going to remove the oil pump located behind the timing cover. The oil pump is located behind the timing cover. We are going to remove the timing cover carefully, and we are going to remove the gasket carefully, and we are going to check the oil pump. Alright, this is the timing cover. No, don't forget, put the bolts organized in a plastic bag. Exactly, that's the timing cover. And this is the oil pump. The oil pump with the input located in the bottom and the return on top. Input in the bottom and return on top. And this is the oil pump. The gears are located internally, and the crankshaft have springs, and the springs engage with the gear of the pump. Now we are going to remove the oil pump. This is the timing chain, the gear of the camshaft, and in the bottom is the gear of the cam. This is the situation. The oil pass through the cavities, those cavities, and circulate internally. In this moment, exactly the same pass in the plain bearings for the camshaft. The oil enter over there, and you have lubrication in all the plain bearings. Yes, my friends, because the oil, you see, the oil penetrate those holes and produce the film of oil in between the crankshaft or camshaft and the bearing. And this is the pressure that you read in the oil pressure gauge. For that reason, the quality of the bearings should be the appropriated quality. The quality of the bearings should be perfect, and the tolerance in between the bearings and the crankshaft or camshaft should be according with the manufacturer specification. If not, the oil pressure is not the appropriated. Normally the people say, no, I am going to replace the oil pressure in order to get more pressure. Papi, probably you need to verify your bearings. You need to verify your bearings. For that reason, how can I verify the bearings? I need to disassembly the engine. No, not necessary. You can take the oil sample, and with the concentration of different metals in the oil sample, you can analyze the report and you can take a decision. Oh, I found it too much lead, too much zinc. Oh, probably my bearings are out. A little amount of copper. This is a perfect indicator that my bearings are out, and I have additionally low oil pressure. This is an indicator that the babbitt in my bearings are out. This is the babbitt, no? The soft metal, the white metal. Now you understand how important are those holes, because those holes communicate the oil and produce the pressure in the system. Okay, now we are going to talk about the oil pressure sensor and the oil pressure switch. Okay, and we are going to understand, we are going to refresh. You remember in electricity, I explained the procedure to do the harness for a diesel engine or gasoline engine, and in that episode I explained in details the procedure to fabricate the harness. Okay, we are going to use one portion of that video in order to understand, in order to refresh where are located the oil pressure sensor, the oil pressure switch, and how those sensors should be installed in the harness, and how the gauge, oil pressure gauge, should be installed in the system. What other situation the engine stops by itself? Yes, when the oil pressure internally goes below 40 psi, the oil pressure. The oil internally in the engine, normally when the engine is running, the pressure is in between 60 and 80 psi. When the pressure is below 35 psi, the majority of the engine stops for emergency, and immediately you have a check engine code, low oil pressure. Right. The synthetic oils are excellent because those oils are fabricated 100% in the laboratory. One of the, returning to the previous slide, one of the inconveniences of the mineral oils is that the molecules are not equal. If you see in this picture, the diameter of this one is different like this, because probably this is sulfur, and this is phosphorus, and this is carbon, yeah, and that surface is not perfect. There are too much holes in between the molecules, and that oil is propense to foam, to trap bubbles of air, yeah, because the surface is not perfect and the film is not uniform. The film of oil with mineral oil is not uniform. It's not perfect. If you check in the bottom, the second picture, this one, all the molecules have the same diameter. The film is constant, is perfect. The seal is better. Yes, the second one is the synthetic, and is created in the laboratory. Yes, you can go from multigrade into single grade until the engine finish and you need to rebuild the engine. Can I go that procedure in the opposite way? No, I don't recommend. For example, I have an engine that is using single grade 50W, and suddenly I want to return to multigrade. No, that's not good. If you do that process, if you return to multigrade, immediately you have a blue smoke, a lot of blue smoke, you have leaks of oil, and probably you have other consequences, low compression and high temperature. Now, if your engine is using actually single grade, continue with single grade.